side, you'll see a microphone. The microphone during the Q&A will unmute you and then mute you again if you'd like. The one next to that looks like a camera. If you would like us to be able to see you, click that camera and that will start your video feed. We ask that you do not touch the next two in the middle. Those are for the speaker only in order to present information that is relevant to this talk. Beyond that, you will see a hand. There are several times when the speaker will ask a question and ask you to raise your hand. If you click on that icon, it will raise your hand. If you are calling in from a phone, you can also raise your hand by pressing *2. So *2 on your phone or the blue toolbar with the hand at the top to raise your hand. The last icon is a phone headset. If you need to leave the call for any reason, that's how you do it. Click this button and you will leave the call. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Sandy Isgro. Sandy has been dowsing for 20 years and is a member of the American Society of Dowsers for 17 years. She is currently serving as Vice President of the Society. She was a member of Vermont Vibrations, co-author of The Double Runic Labyrinth with Joanne Van Gelder, and her student. She has presented and built the Runic Labyrinth at numerous conventions with Joanne and others. Last year, she co-created the DNA Runic Labyrinth with Marty Lucas, Lee Blonsky, and Leanne Potter for convention attendees. Sandy is available for workshops, lectures on labyrinths and runes, and creating personal labyrinths on your property. The Double Runic Labyrinth, as well as other books, are available through the ASD bookstore. At this point in time, Sandy has asked me to take a quick poll of everyone on the call. Is there anyone here who has not heard rune or runes? If you have not heard, if you're not aware of this, please either click the hand at the top of your screen or press *2. How many of you are not familiar with runes? Yep, this is just for practice. Okay, at this point, it looks like we have 39 people on the call, and only 1 or 2 are unfamiliar with runes. Just so
okay,
you know.
That's great.
So at this point, I will turn the call over to Sandy. Welcome, Sandy Isgro.
Thank you. Welcome all of you to our first virtual conference. We've been trying really hard to put this together for all of you. We really wished we could have done this in real life, we're all together again, but hopefully next year in 2021. So to get started, for those that don't know what runes are, I'm just going to do a brief little intro for that. If you have questions, you can press that button that Leidra told you about in the chat, and you can ask a question, and then she'll forward the questions to me. So the very simple definition of a rune, it's a symbol, usually formed with straight lines. It has internal or inherent power that we call energy. It has movement or vibration, therefore it has frequency. If you've taken a look around you or in our lives, runes are present. We think of them as ancient. We think of them as our ancestors used them. It was an ancient tool and we've moved beyond that. We really haven't. They're here. We work with them every single day. And this workshop for you is about the ones that were specifically gifted to you at birth by your parents. So when we talk about a rune, and I'm just take a look at your hand. This is a really simple explanation of runes that are present today that we continue to work with, even though they're ancient. So look at your hand. Most of you might be wearing a ring. If you take that ring off, it forms a circle. The ancient symbol of totality, the whole, the Om, the one. This circle represents that energy, that vibration, that frequency. Today, that same symbol represents the partnership between two people. So we are continuing to use these runes, partnership, oneness, it's still there. The ancient vibrational frequency that represented by this circle in our ancient ancestors' times, we recognize the frequency. We put it into a symbol. That symbol means that frequency. Later today, Marty Lucas will be giving a lecture on radionics. The radionics are our modern day form of using these ancient archetypal runes. So he finds that frequency, that singular frequency that represents a vibration, a frequency, and he transmits that using the radio equipment. The interesting part about this, have you folks ever heard the statement, if you know or can name something, you have power over it? Our ancestors actually knew what that meant. They meant that if they could recognize or they knew the true name of something, they knew the frequency and vibration of that specific thing, and they could either enhance it or negate it. Marty uses the frequencies, these runic frequencies that we're going to be working with, he uses them to enhance farmers' production in the fields, to enhance the growth of plants, to give them the frequency of Lyme if that's necessary, without spreading Lyme on the field. So what we're going to work with today is what you were gifted by your parents in the runic world, in the energy world, through your name. So when your parents named you, and then we're going to be working with birth names. If you do not know your birth name, use the name that you presently use. So your birth name is the gifts at birth. Whether it was because of a soul contract between you and your parents, whether names came down through your culture or your family, like the firstborn son was always named Joe, like in my family. That was an energy that was given to you. So what we're going to do is, first of all, because I want to do this in reference to something that you're working with, because I want you to leave this workshop with a tool or tools that are going to help you with something that you're currently doing. So I'd like you to take a piece of paper and I'd like you to write an issue or a current problem that you are working on, and just write it simply down on the paper before we start. Okay. So, Ledra, if you would put up the picture of Odin for me, it'd be great. Ledra, can you not put that up? Or are we having problems with the handouts?
It should be up. Are you not seeing it?
I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. I'm not seeing. Okay, I can see it at the bottom. Thank you. In our ancestral storytelling, Odin gave us the runes after his trial of hanging
Whoever
upside
is
down.
clicking, please stop clicking the pencil. Please stop clicking the pencil. You're interrupting the speaker. Just sit and enjoy. Thank you very much.
So Odin gave us the runes, the set of runes that we're going to be working with. And he did this through trial. He actually hung upside down. The story is that he hung upside down on the world tree, or the tree of knowledge, if you choose, for 7 days. And he discovered the runes and gave them to the people to use. So what I'd like you to do is, we have a second worksheet. That's handout number 2. And I can't see it. I don't know why, but if it's up, you'll just have to let me know that it's up for everybody else to see.
Sandy, if you look down on my screen, you'll see.
I'm not seeing your screen either, Lidra. I just see myself for some reason.
That's because you're pinned. If you click on my picture down in the little ones, you'll see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm not seeing your pictures either. If it's okay if you just tell me that that particular one is up. I cannot see it. I'm seeing nothing on my side.
I'm sharing the screen that says first name, runic translation, middle name, runic translation.
Okay, okay. I unpinned myself. Sorry about that, everyone. On the first line, would you please write, it says print your name, first name. Please print your first name there, your middle name, and your last name. Give yourself some room so that you can work with the letters. And if you're just doing this on a piece of paper, just make sure you leave space between your names. And if you have 2 middle names, put that in. And remember, we're working with your given name, if you have that, if you know what it is. And if not, you're working with the name you presently are using. Okay. I hope everybody's done that. I mean, we all know our names, so it's kind of easy to do that part. And then, Lidra, would you put up the translation sheet for everyone?
You want the rune sheet?
The rune sheet, where they can translate. And by the way, all of these will be are in a download. That's the correct one. All of these are in a download for you, so that you can print these out on your own later, and they will actually be included if you buy this talk from ASD. So if you look on this chart, and you don't have to look at the definitions yet, but just look at the letters. Those letters are next to, the first column is our alphabet. The second column is the runic alphabet that it is equal to. So look at this, and you have a letter A. And I'm sharing my little screen here. I said, hi, everyone. So under the word 8, or the letter H, I then put the runic letter. So what you're going to do is, under each of the letters of your name, translate it to the runic symbol that it represents. If you could do that now, please. So Lidra, I take it that if I go to the whiteboard now, they can't see the translation page. Z, could you type that into Lidra, please? Because every time I hit the whiteboard,
you can't see both. I mean,
there's no way to do both. Okay. So the interesting part about this is you're going to see that if you have maybe 2 or 3 letters in your name that pop up again, so you have 2 A's, you have 5 D's, you're repeating writing down that symbol, and that's okay because that's what we're looking for. Okay, Lidra, I want to go to the whiteboard. I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to do just a sample. So if I'm doing Sandy, for all of you, that's an N, by the way. Oh my God, I had that down earlier. And then what you're going to see is that underneath you will have the runic symbol that represents. That A represents this. And the N is there. And yay. So that's my name, and that's the translation. And that's what you're working on right now. Okay. And now we're going to go to the next handout. Lidra, could you put up the next one?
Yep.
Thank you. The order, list the runes in order of appearance, please. Okay. So now you're going to look at your piece of paper, and you're going to list the runes in order of appearance. So in my name, Sandy, the S appears first. That's my first name, my first letter. And I would put in this line, in this first column, list those runes in order of appearance. You do not have to relist a rune. So in other words, I have 2 A's in my name. The first A would appear here. I do not have to list the second A again. This is just listing them in order of appearance. And you don't have to repeat. So if you have a repeating letter, repeating rune, you don't have to repeat it. Are there any questions, Lidra?
No, just technical stuff. We do have someone who's raised their hand, though.
Can I click on that and answer the question?
Yes, sure.
It looks like your hand next to Lidra. No? Kelly White? There we go. So in order to talk to her, I unmute her.
You just unmute her. Yep.
Hi there.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, everybody. I think I'm new to all this, and I accidentally hit the hand thing, and I will not do that again.
That's all right.
No worries. Thank you.
Great. For the greater good, do you have any questions up to right now?
No, I got on this thing very late, like 2 minutes before it started, and I'm just feeling my way about it. So I'm just going to be
Okay.
an observer and listener for now.
Okay. I like the 2 L's in your name. You should look at that translation. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Okay. And I'm going to go back to you and go back here. Okay. Come here. Come on, you guys. Let me out of here. Sorry, we're all new at this one. Okay. So for the rest of you that were working on this right now, you've listed your runes in order of appearance. The second column here is where you're going to list the number of times that that rune appears in your name. So this becomes really important. So if you have 5 L's in your name, you would list that number 5 next to the L. If you have 2 A's, you would list 2 there. If you have only one letter that's appearing and one rune that's appearing, you put a number 1 there. It's the number of times that this rune or this energy appears in your name. So I'm going back up to the whiteboard, and I'm just doing it like this. So my letter A appears 2 times in my name. The letter I, come on, dot it. Yeah, only appears once. That's what we're doing. Okay, that's pretty easy. It's not too hard. Now we're going to go to the next one. The next handout, Lidra. This is in order of dominance, and you've kind of already seen that something's happening here. You're seeing that there are some runes that are pretty predominant in your name. So you want to list them now in order of dominance. So as I said before on this particular sheet, this worksheet, if I have 5 L's, my L rune goes here. It is the most dominant thing. And you would then continue the list down. The letter A appears 2 times, and then everything else in my name appears once. And here's where the fun part comes in, guys, after you do that. Okay, so I'm going to go up to the whiteboard again, Lidra, just so you know. All right, I'm clearing this. So I'm just using this as an example. My letter A appears 4 times. Hey, why am I getting that? There we go. Okay. So most of you are dowsers. For those of you that are not, that we can show you how to dowse later. I'm just doing a very simple chart, dowsing chart. Just a simple line. Starts at 0. My little circles for percentages are just not working. And then this is my 100%. So when you're dowsing, this is just a simple little chart. So 25 would be somewhere in here. And your 75 would be somewhere in here. Okay, now you're going to dowse 0 to 100%, to what degree am I presently using this runic energy? So for each of your letters, each of the runes that represent those letters, from the dominant one down to the number ones, or 0, you're going to put a number over here. So I am presently using that runic energy 10%.
Sandy, you might want to clear that board. It's getting rather cluttered.
Okay. Do we have any questions right now?
You have a hand raised from Patricia. Did you want to take that?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I just unmuted Patricia.
Okay, thank you so much. You know, one thing,
You're welcome.
two things
Hi,
are
Patricia.
happening. Hi, how are you? It's great to see you. Great work. I'm excited. The two things, I don't know if you realize, but the chat's been disabled. And the other thing is, I didn't finish writing down all my runes because I have a long name. So would there be some possibility of showing that first chart again with all the runes and the letters?
Yep, you have that in the download, and we can go back to that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
have a chance. That'd be awesome. I didn't finish it because it's.
Yep, and we have a chance to meet later. We have a lounge room that we could make a meeting time, and I can show up if it's.
Yeah, this is great. We really want to capture it. So
Okay.
Great. Thanks so much.
Now,
Hey,
Patricia, the chat, there's a vertical blue toolbar and you click on it. There has been a chat going on. And Sandy, so you know, I've uploaded your handout to the chat room. So anybody who would like to download it directly from here, there's a download button in chat for this handout. You can do it directly from there.
Can you do that, Patricia?
No, it's still when I click the message, it keeps saying the moderator has disabled the chats. I don't know why, but I'm not able to. I know I do chats all the time, and it's just not letting me get in there.
Okay. Well, we'll work on it on the back end, okay?
All right. It could be just my end. You know, if everybody else has chat and it's not me, then it's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Couple more questions.
I don't see any more. Emma?
Emma? Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I was just saying that the chat is not working because that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to agree.
Okay. All right, Lidra, that's your department. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, Lisa is monitoring this room right now, so I'll get a hold of her, let her know that.
Okay. All right, folks, that you've done that
I'm
part.
sorry. I did have a question. I'm sorry. While I'm still unmuted. So there's things in my name that are like I have a bunch of runes that show up twice. So what would the dominance order be if they all show up twice?
That's the fun part. That's what we're getting to. Okay, but the first thing you want to do, Emma, is douse. To what degree, 0 to 100%, am I presently, right now, using each one of those? Whether it's a 2, a 1, a 4, doesn't matter. What are you using right now?
Okay.
Okay, because basically these are tools, and I'm just going to explain a little bit more on the tools to everybody. I hope everybody can hear this too. These are tools, and just like a carpenter, just like a cook, we all have favorite tools. It's the tool that fits your hand. It's the one you're most used to. It's, you know, your go-to. Whether it's your favorite pendulum, your favorite pen, your favorite hammer, your favorite knife in the kitchen, whatever it is, you've got favorite tools. Well, think about it this way. These energies were gifted to you when you were a baby. As a baby, you understood energies a lot better than we do when we become an adult and we get involved in our physical world more. So you picked up, you started using certain energies when you were a child, when you were a baby, because they were given to you. They were basically a gift. People are using your name. You're receiving, by people using your name, you're receiving those energies every time, and you're getting used to those energies every time somebody said your name. So they became your fit, whatever ones they were, the ones that you focused on, that became your favorite hammer. Unfortunately, in our life today, as we grow, as we are faced with different issues and problems in our lives that we are trying to solve, we have a tendency to go back and pick up our favorite tool. So if I'm trying to put a screw into a wall, I could use my hammer. That's my favorite tool. But if I do that, I mean, I'm just being logical here, but if I do that and I hammer that screw with a hammer, I'm going to drive a hole in the wall. The screw is not going to do its job, which is to thread into the wood. However, in my toolbox happens to be a screwdriver. Why didn't I pick that up first? It would have worked better. Its job is to do what I want that screw to do, which is to actually meld with the wood by threading into the wood. But I didn't pick that up. It's the same thing with these runic energies. We have a tendency to go back and use the ones that are our favorite ones, the ones we're used to. When there's something else in our toolbox that we can pick up, it's right there. It's use me. I want you to use me. I do this job better than that guy does. I'm faster. I'm more efficient at it because that's what I'm meant to do. And that's what we're going to be discovering today through doing this little. You have the knowledge of these other tools. That doesn't mean you can't use them. It's just harder to work with a tool that you are not familiar with. These, they were given to you. So that's what you're doing. If you, and here comes the really cool part. So on the next screen, last worksheet, Lidra. Hi. Lidra.
Hi, Sandy. I was on the phone with Lisa for technical stuff. Which sheet did you need up now?
The last one, please.
There you go.
Okie doke. I don't see it, so I've lost that part right now. I don't know why. No, I'm looking for the sheet. I don't see myself or the sheet, so.
Which sheet did you want up?
I need the last one, the last worksheet.
how to use this information?
Yep.
Yep, it's up now.
Okay, so I'm going to go. I just can't see anything right now. Emma's got the screen and I can't on Emma.
If you go down to the bottom of your screen, there's a little gray circle with a caret. Click show.
Okay.
And then you should see everybody.
I see it. Okay. And I can click on that and it'll make the whole screen. No. Anyway, I can see that it's up. Thank you. Okay, so everyone in the audience, could you please look at that issue or problem that you wrote down at the very beginning? And now we're going to use the things in your toolbox to see how to work with that issue and what you are presently using. So again, here we go with the dowsing. What you're going to do is you're going to ask those same runes from your list in order of dominance. You're going to douse what is 0 to 100%. To what degree should I use this runic energy to address this problem? You can also word it as 0 to 100%. To what degree will this runic energy be effective on the solution of this problem? However you want to word that in your own words, you're dowsing to see the runic energies in your name, which ones would be good to use to solve your issue or to help you solve your issue. So I'm going to just open the whiteboard again. And I'm going to choose, let's pretend. So I have this energy. It's equal to my S. And I am presently using it when I use my present. I'm not getting this. For some reason. I'm presently using it at 10%. And if I use it on my issue, it would be useful at 75%. So this is the present. That's the one we did last. And no, that's the present.
Sandy, if you push the bottom button, it'll clear the white screen.
Yep.
When it says trash.
Yep, I did it.
And then people will be able to see it better.
I've got a cleared whiteboard. I don't know what you're... Do we have any? Okay. I have Martha Grace question.
Yes.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes, I can.
I have a question with when I doused, you know, how I was using the letters in the name. I got all zeros, but I put down my biological name. I'm adopted, and so I got a very, zero response. Should I be using the name that I was given by my adoptive parents?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's as close as you can get to the name that you heard as a baby, the gifting name.
Okay, so the biological.
Right. The biological one they probably didn't use, or did they?
No, not much. No.
Okay, so you didn't hear that. You
Right.
You weren't coming into synchronicity with the energies of your biological name because you never heard it, or you heard it very rarely.
Yeah, no, they didn't know the name. It was only found later on. So that's what I was just
Right.
wondering, because you were saying to use the original name, so I wasn't sure how original.
Okay.
That's all.
And I've worked with this a lot, so just, you know, hear me out a little bit on this. I mean, maybe others will need this information. If you do not know your biological name and you find it out later, okay, you may want to look at that to see what your soul chose to not have.
Mhm.
Unless you resonate with that name and not with the name that you were later given, I would look at it for a life path that you chose differently.
Okay.
Energies that you chose to work with, that you did, you know, that you did not want to use. So there's
Okay.
something in there for you to learn. There's a really good thing in there for you to learn. And you're welcome. And Patricia, what was your question? I can't hear you. Okay. All right, we will go back to that. Okay. I mean, in the very last line of this is the kind of the ultimate. You now want to know, so you know which ones you're using. You know which ones you.
Sandy, Margarita has a question. When you say use do to use them.
Great, that's the next part. Just a second. Would you please just bear with me and just take a look through dowsing, you know, douse your symbols and see which ones you are currently using on your problem. You know which ones you could use because you've determined dowsing. Now, which ones are you using? And you might be surprised. It could be, but you might be surprised. Anybody have any surprises?
Nancy typed raise hand.
Okay,
and Phil would like to know, how does he find the percentages for each?
How does he find, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The percentages for each.
Okay, do you want to see the whiteboard again? This is what I would use very quickly. I would make a straight line for my dowsing chart. I'd use a dowsing chart and a pendulum. This is 0%. This is 100%. Boy, my circle's not good. And there we go, circle. Okay, and right in the middle is 50%. And then you would have your 25 and your 75. And I would douse 0 to 100%. To what degree? That's my question. And your pendulum should swing one way or the other and stop swinging where, let's just say it's right there. where it should be. And you would say, okay, that might be maybe 80%. Does that answer the question?
Yes, he says, thank you, very clear.
Okay. Okay, so now let's get to that last question that we had about how do you use this. So I didn't hear anybody go, oh my gosh, you know, I could use this rune, and that rune, but I'm only using this one. So what usually happens is if you start working with the other runes that, like we said before, they're the screwdriver, they would address the issue a little bit better. They're made for that particular thing. You might find that you're better energetically to solve your issue. You don't have as many blockages because now you've picked up the energy, the runic energy, and the vibration to work with that issue and resolve that issue quicker, faster, easier for you. So how do you work with these runes? A lot of these things I learned with Joanne Van Gelder and the Vermont Vibrations Group. We discovered, we do an awful lot of discovery in the beginning with this. So with a rune, let's just go back to what most people are working with energetically today. If you're working with a very specific vibrational energy, then it might have an angel associated with it. But you don't have to have, or in this usage, you don't have a face. So you could say, okay, I want to work with flow energy. So you're going to go back to that original translation chart that you can download to see that you have a definition you just discovered. Work with the ones only that are presented for your problem that you stated in the beginning, because that's what you're focused on right now in your life. Energies presenting themselves from your name, from your toolbox, that are gifted to you, that are. So let's just work with those. Don't work with the whole list. So look at that. When you do, and I'm just going to use this as an example, I have that I can use communication. That communication rune is in my name. And I can use it. I'm not using it very well with this particular issue. But appropriate rune or energy to address the issue that I'm dealing with. Anus, it's for communication. It's both vocal and non-vocal communication. You can either visualize that as maybe a spirit animal without visualizing it. You can meditate on the rune itself. To do that, to get into the vibration of communication. Wear it, write it on a piece of paper, put it in your pocket, carry it with you. The water to become clear and healthful. You can also imbue your water go outside, draw the symbol on the sidewalk with some chalk inside on it if you'd like. Any way that you can think of working with that.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you because we're at 10 minutes to the hour right now, and
Yep.
we have a couple of specific raised her hand. She also has the question, the letter M is used 50% in my name. In my issue, I use the M 3 times. What does this mean, 50-50%? I'll get it done. I can also unmute her if you'd like to speak with her directly.
Can you unmute her?
Yep.
Thank you.
Hi, Sandy.
Go ahead, Nancy. You're
Hi. Okay, so you've been told that it would work 50%, okay? And that it would work on your issue 50%. And you have it 3 times in your name. So that's something that it's one of your favorite tools, is your
Right.
individuality, okay? So how can you work with that to address the issue that you are now working with? You are going to ask that energy come into your life, that you are going to recognize it when it does. You want to work with it, just like you would be doing with your spirit animal in that tradition, an angel in other traditions, one of your guides. Ask it to be a guide. And you ask it to help you solve your issue. Help me solve this issue. And you want to work with it to do that. And you continue to keep it in your consciousness that you are working with this on this issue. And then give yourself some questions. How can I work with this? What does this mean in relationship to my issue? Does it mean that I need to do more of it? Do I need to become more in tune with myself and what my needs are in this issue? Am I not expressing my needs in my individuality? How can I do that better so that it will? Does that answer your question?
Yes, the fact that the letter in my name and the fact that it comes up 3 times get my movie made, MMM.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. That doesn't mean 50% maybe I'll get it done and maybe 50% I won't get it done?
No, it means that there's, well, in what I would be saying is, yes, you can work with that, but there's something else that you need to be working with, some other energy you need to be working with to get to the 100%. How can you get that to get to 100%? You can either look at the other runes and say, if I use this one with this one, these two energies together, I will get to my 100%.
Ah, yes, because N and C, my name Nancy, N and C are 100%. So I should
there
work
you go.
N's and the C.
You work with
Thank
those.
you.
Yep. And you
Thank
can also work with the group too. You can work with the entire group. It's just that since most of this is new to people, they're not used to working with the base energy. They're used to working with the tools that we presently in our 20th century use, which is radionics, which is cards, and all of these other things. We're not used to actually recognizing the energy itself that our ancestors recognized and then created a symbol as a representation of that energy. And then we added that. Okay. Another question? Anybody else? I have hands raised over here. Nancy? Nancy, you're unmuted. What was your question? Oh, I can't hear her.
I was already saying.
Okay. Any other questions? Wow, you guys are really fast learners. use is you can use that original translation chart, and you can just go down the chart and say, what energy should I be working with to address this particular problem, issue, or what do I need to work? Just put it out there and let the universe tell you what you should be working with today, or what you need today. I do that sometimes too. What do I need? The hour. Questions or things that I can help with?
Hello?
Hi. Hi there.
Can you hear me?
Yep. What would you like to say? Your question?
I was just wondering, when I was born, I didn't have a name for 2 weeks. Like, my mom just didn't name me. So I'm wondering, like, I guess she couldn't connect to what my name was. So I'm wondering if you have any ideas about, like, why or what that really means,
What that really means to me, and I'm going to say this from my own birth. I was first born, so I had to be a boy. That was the tradition that I was born into, was I was supposed to be a boy. So my mother only had a boy name. And so she wasn't going to give me a boy name. And so she had to really think about it. It threw her through a loop. And so she had to connect to you, me, as who we are, our spirit, and figure out what our name should be, because she thought that I was going to be a boy. I mean, I was quite a surprise. And in your particular case, I would think that I would be very happy that my mother took the time to really find out what energies you needed in your life so that she gave them to you in your name. I mean, that seems pretty profound to me, that she took the time and the naming, that your name was so important.
She was really stressed out about it.
Well, I would think that she really had some sort of spiritual connection and knew that you needed to have it right. You needed to have energies that you could use to get you through this life. And she was, that was important, and she knew that. And our ancient ancestors knew this. A naming didn't happen until the child was, almost a teenager. And nobody, and back then, when they received their true name, they never told anybody what that true name was. Because again, if people who meant them harm knew what their true name was, they could actually send energies that would negate them or lessen their life stream, if you'd like. And the true name was never given out. So I think, I think that's part of that knowledge.
Cool. Thank
I'm
you
sorry.
so much.
You're welcome. It's kind of garbled, though. I'm hearing somebody else.
Okay,
there.
Sandy, we're at the top of the hour, so yeah, there's been a couple of technical glitches, but if you will end the call, that would be great.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You can contact me if you need any help.